Welcome, everyone. We're just going to go ahead and give folks a minute or two to trickle in here. We'll get started here in just a moment or so. Well, welcome, everybody. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining me for another installment of our weekly webinar series. Today, we'll be covering Microsoft Teams Part 2, Channels, Files, and Applications. Before we get too into this, I do want to take care of a couple of housekeeping items. We are recording this webinar. We will be posting it on our COVID resource page on our website at justask.net. So if you have any colleagues, coworkers that might make use of this or any of the previous webinars we've put together, all of the recordings are there for your consumption at your leisure. So we will be doing the recording on this one as well. Microphones were all muted. There is a Q&A, chat Q&A that I will monitor and respond to after at the end of the webinar. As I'm doing these solo, juggling the Q&A while performing the webinar is a bit much. So I'll if you don't mind, I'll handle all the questions at the end to the best of my ability. Couple of other notes. We're going to kind of get down and dirty today. This is going to be a live demo, so I'll be using the online version of Teams to create a new channel, upload some files, talk about some applications, show where those are. Because I'm using my desktop version of Teams for this presentation. So if you'll bear with me, there may be a hang up or two here or there as I move things around. But as I said, we're going to roll ahead and do this live. One thing I did want to bring up, there is an update rolling out for Teams here coming in June that Microsoft just recently announced. Doesn't necessarily pertain to the channels or files, but it will allow for the meeting windows or any call windows to pop out of Teams to not take up the real estate within Teams. You have the Teams window, and then you can have a separate window for your video call, your video meeting. If you happen to be using it for regular voice, for your phone call, will be in a separate window. So just want to let you know to look out for that. That's coming here in June. So with that, I probably should introduce myself. My name is Kevin Meeker. I'm the Director of Business Development at ASK, and we'll go ahead and get rolling here. So at this point, just want to kind of go through, give a quick agenda of what we're going to cover today. We're going to start with channels. What are they and when to use them? Go through how to create, how to manage access to those various channels that are created. And we'll talk about files, where to store them, how to get them there, and then how to make others aware of their existence in that location. Now, there's some really nice features built into Teams to make your colleagues and coworkers aware that you've made an update or that there's a new file there that needs their attention. Excuse me. And then, we'll talk about the applications that can be linked into Teams and where and how to use them in Teams. One of the really nice things about Teams is Teams really is the hub of the entire Microsoft stack. I think of it kind of as the window into the rest of the Microsoft applications, whether it's SharePoint, whether it's your Word, your Excel. All of those files, all of those applications will run natively in Teams. I mean, with the exception of email, you could probably work the vast majority of your day just within Teams, because you can open a file and edit it right there within the Teams client. You don't have to have it loaded up in Word separately or use the online version of Word. You can edit that document right there, and we'll go through that today. So, really, as you're starting to think about Teams, think about Teams as that centralized hub, that place you go to where you have access to your files, where you have access to your coworkers and colleagues, where you go to access, or where you go to the place you go to then start your work on whatever you happen to be working on. Now, certainly all of you have custom CRMs or other software that isn't within the Microsoft stack. And I'm not trying to say that you can import and work on those individual line of business applications that are specific to your company in Teams necessarily. But yeah, the vast majority of the work that you would do within the Microsoft stack can certainly be accomplished right within the Teams client. So more than anything, I just want to get people thinking about the fact that Teams really is that centralized hub, and starting to think about using it in that manner. So with that, we will dive into channels. Now, first of all, channels, what are they? So I just grabbed a photo offline here, but here's an example of Microsoft Teams window. It looks like we've got the team of Northwind traders. And when that team is created, this general channel is automatically created along with the team. But then below that, each one of these is an individual channel. So for example, you could have a finance and admin team, or a finance and accounting team, for example. And then you could have, of course, the general channel, and then you could have your finance channel. Then you could have a separate channel for accounting. And then another use of channels is you can use those for short-term or mid-term projects. They don't have to be a permanent addition to your Teams deployment. So using that finance and admin example, if, for example, there was an audit coming up in a few months, you can create a channel specific to that audit. And then you can, especially since it's finance, you may not even want to open it up to the entire team of finance and admin. You may only want to open that channel up to the 4 or 5 individuals that may be working on that audit together. Well, you can make that channel private and only allow certain members of the finance and accounting team to access that particular channel. And then they can upload files that they're working on to prep for that audit and have collaboration regarding that audit. And then when the audit's complete, you can save your final versions of your documents in your normal finance and admin team. And then you can quite literally delete that channel you built for the audit. So there's a lot of different ways to utilize channels. Now, certainly, if you're working on a project or have an ongoing item that is multi-departmental, where you have 10 members of 5 different departments that are going to be working on this project, in that case, you probably should build a team for that project, because you have a bunch of people in disparate roles and positions within your company all trying to collaborate on that. I would build a temporary team for that project and invite the appropriate parties from the various departments into that team. But if you've got a project that's only focused, or it's only being worked on by members of a particular team within your organization, then I would just build a channel for that project. It helps organize, and again, it gives you that place for reference. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bounce over to Teams Online here, and I'm going to use an example of the crisis we're going through right now. When everything hit, here's our marketing team, and you can see there's the general tab, but then we created a channel for COVID campaigns because we had to very much change our message when everybody was sent home and forced to work from home or try to figure all of that out. So you can see here that under our COVID campaigns, here's some other information. We're working on our webinar series, and this is next week's webinar, and we're collaborating right now on some things. So you can see that we've created this this COVID campaign, and eventually we'll probably pull the files and information out of this and store it elsewhere, and eventually delete this guy. But at this point, I want to go ahead and create a new channel. So we're going to come up here to the team and hit the three dots for more options, and we're going to add a channel. Then it has a nice little wizard that just kind of walks you through setting up the channel. So go ahead and call this webinar demo. Description of demo. Now, privacy. So standard is accessible to everybody who happens to be in the team under which this channel is created. Now, that's not a whole lot of fun here, so we're going to go ahead and set that to private. So it's only accessible by a particular group of people within the team. So then it's going to go ahead and build the channel for us. But now I need to add members to my channel. Now, certainly I could just have myself as a member, skip this and add folks later. And I'll show you here in a minute how to add people to a channel. But for our purposes, we're gonna go ahead and add one of our client technology managers, Ed Pryor, to this. And we'll go ahead and add him. And now we have to make a decision. Do I want him as a member or an owner of the channel? For this case, we're gonna go ahead and make him an owner. Ed and I are co-efforting this project, and he should have the same permissions as I do. I'll take you to, in a moment, to show you what membership allows folks to do, so you have an idea of whether you should select people as members or owners. And you certainly can edit this after the fact. So if you select the wrong one or need to make a change, you certainly can. So we'll go ahead and add Ed to this new channel and create it. Now, a couple little things here. First of all, you'll see the webinar demo channel has appeared, and then there's this little padlock next to it. That means it's a private channel that only certain people have access to. So now we'll hit the three dots next to that, and we'll come up here to manage channel. So here you can see we have two owners, Ed and myself. We have no members or guests. We certainly can, if appropriate or necessary, change Ed to a member and apply those changes. And then now I'm going to have see Ed under my members and guests. As I mentioned earlier, you get some setting changes here. So here are your member permissions. So by default, all members will be able to create, update, and remove tabs from the channel. They can delete their messages and edit their messages. So you can, based on your preferences and the way your company is structured and what you're using this channel for, you can make the appropriate selections here. Now, a really nice feature within Teams is this @mentions. If you type the @ symbol and then type someone's name, it will ping them and give them a little update here in their activity that somebody had mentioned them in a document. As an example here, we're going to go ahead and take you. See, here Katie mentioned me, Mike, and Victoria about some comments she put in. So we got a notification in our activity that Katie had made some notes in and wants to get things taken care of here. So she's given us a deadline of when to look at things. So it's a way for you to communicate with your staff members and your teammates in the channel without having to send an email or anything of that nature. So a couple of other nice pieces within this managed channel. Again, you can determine whether people can be mentioned or not. And then certainly, depending on the level of humor and or how businesslike or loose you want to keep this channel, you can certainly allow for Giphy and stickers and memes, custom memes, things of that nature. You have inappropriate material, content filtering of either strict or moderate, one or the other. In general, moderate normally fits the bill. But again, your people best. This is the framework. Certainly use it as a tool, but certainly modify that tool for how your company operates, how your staff are, things of that nature. What fits for one company may not fit for another. Another nice piece here is this analytics page. Of course, we're not going to see anything because we just created this team, but I've got 2 users. And then I think I can probably just go here, manage this guy, and we'll just real quick look at the analytics here. And you can see when messages were posted, some of the activity on what's going on in the channel. So you get some analytics built into that channel, and as you do more and more with your channel, you're going to get more and more in that analytics function. Now, one other piece is certainly, since this is a private channel, or even if it was a public channel, you needed to add someone from outside of the team, you could come here to add members, and you just type in the email address. So if I wanted to add Katie, my director of marketing, to this, I could certainly do that. Click add. Then I would determine whether I wanted her to be a member or owner, and then she now has an invite to that channel, so she's aware that she's been made a member of this channel. She has a notification on this. So that's, again, some of the basics on building a channel and why you would build a channel. Another nice piece here is you can actually get the email address for the channel So you could forward an email to the channel email, which would then show up in the posts. So you actually have that ability to send an email to the entire channel this way, instead of having to copy everyone uh, to send out that email. So there are definitely a lot of different ways to notify people of what's going on here within Teams. It really comes down to you, your organization, what your workflows look like, how you go about your day, and oh, hey, what do you know? There's Katie. She just mentioned me and wanted to say hello. So as you can see, the at here, that was the at mention. I didn't get a notification in my activity because I happened to be on the channel when she posted that. But as you can see, there are plenty of different ways to notify your staff members. Again, it really comes down to how you operate, how you work, and what works best for you. So with that, that is in general what we're talking about for channels and their various functions. Now, there's nothing hard and fast here. I've seen some companies use channels for some really, really unique things. But again, you'll just have to look at it and consider it a tool in your arsenal. It's another way for you to collaborate with your colleagues and coworkers and make it your own. Use it for what makes the most sense for you. So now that we have channel created, now how do we populate it and start getting some meat and some information into this thing? So you can certainly upload files into your channel. They can be in pretty much almost any version of file that you want. I mean, they are certainly not limited to the Microsoft stack. You can put PDF files in there. It's really limitless. It's basically a file share for specific files that are pertinent to what you're working on within that channel. Certainly, I would be fairly specific about putting a file there. I wouldn't just put anything there because you really want it to be dedicated. You want that channel to be dedicated to whatever the channel was created for. And the only files in that channel should be associated with whatever that channel was created for, whatever project or a campaign or what have you that you're working on for within that channel. You should really limit your files that you put there to those types of files. So how do you get a file there? So we'll go ahead and take us back here and come to the file section. And we're going to see that there's nothing here. So we're going to go ahead and upload a file. I just want to upload a file. And so it's going to bring up my file explorer, very straightforward here. So I'm going to go to my my OneDrive, and we're going to go ahead and grab my sharing demo Word doc from the sharing webinar we did a week or two ago. And we're going to go ahead and upload that guy. So you can see we have an item uploading. It gives me a notification that it is uploaded, and then it has appeared. So now if I just click on this document, it's going to open it in Word in Teams. And you can see that, here's the sharing demo doc that we worked on a couple weeks ago. And you can see there's Ed and Katie showing off the sharing and some of the comments. And if I want, I can edit here. So here's one place I can edit. I also can, look at the conversations that have happened, or I'm sorry, any of the comments that were put in on this. And it looks like there's a few comments here on this file. So again, you have your full capabilities of Word built right into Teams. Now you also have the ability to open this file through the online version of Word. So you can come up to this open, hit the drop down, and open in Word Online, or you can right click. Oh, no, okay. Guess you do have to click the button here and open in Word Online, which will then pop up another tab in my browser here. It will load up my online version of Word through office.com and go ahead and show me that document. And it takes just a moment here to load up. But we also have the ability to edit here as well. So, and of course, then the third way is we can select this and we can open in Word And I'm going to go ahead and open my resident Word on my computer. Now, most of you probably have Word installed on your computer, depending on the licensing type you have for for the Microsoft 365 stack. You may possibly not have the local resident version of Word, and then of course this isn't going to work because you don't have Word locally installed on your computer. But assuming that you do, you would be able to open this document in Word on your machine and edit there as well. So there are 3 different ways that they've built into Teams to make it really, really easy to edit documents and make changes to documents. Another nice piece here is you can select this file and copy the link to the file. And then you can come into your main page, your post page of your channel, and I can at Katie, please review. And then I can post a link to that file. And now Katie knows that I've got a file here that I'd like her to review. She can click on this link. It will take her right to the file here in this file section and allow her to pull that file up and take a look at it. You can also email this link to a colleague if it fits the bill. So there's plenty of different ways that we can use this file section of Microsoft Teams to aid in our collaboration. There's lots of different ways to upload files, bring files down. Again, you can certainly download copies of files. Now, certainly I would recommend working out of these because again, these are all auto-saved back to this one location. So regardless of which of the 3 mechanisms you are using to edit that file, it auto-saves back to here. So you don't have to worry about 3 different versions with 3 different edits floating around. And that can be a real nightmare in that collaboration or when you're co-authoring things. So, use this as that centralized hub. It's really is a great way to do this. So, all right, one other piece is this files section of Microsoft Teams. If you come down here on the side and click on files, you're going to get a list of all the recent files you've worked with. So if you can't remember where you saved the file to, you're not sure which copy you were working on, you can always come here and grab that file from this files section. And it's just a great place to go and look at, okay, what did I work on yesterday? Or okay, it's Monday morning. What was I working on? Which file was I working on Friday afternoon? You can come right back here and you can find your date modified. You can find where it's located. Gives you a plethora of wealth of information. Again, that centralized hub of info. So now, excuse me, move on to the applications within Teams. I already showed that you can use Word and Excel in Teams, but there's actually ways to tie applications to a channel. We use these a lot for, there's a wealth of data that we collect about our customers and their infrastructure, making sure we know what software is installed on people's computers, that sort of thing that we as our company, we need to keep track of, because if there's a problem, we need to be aware of what's installed on what machine so we can then go look for other machines that may have the similar installation, kind of nip those problems in the bud before they become a catastrophe for one of our customers. Well, with Power BI, you can run reports on databases and pull out individual information. So if we detect a problem with a particular version of, let's just say, Adobe Acrobat Pro, we can run a report in Power BI right out of Microsoft Teams that shows me every customer that happens to have that version of Adobe Pro installed. So we can go proactively deal with whatever that issue happens to be. So there's a lot of really nice tools that can be used here and added within the channel. Let's see, where did my webinar test demo go? There it is. So this little plus sign is just adding an additional tab. And you can add a plethora of things. You could add a OneNote for just notes and information where people can all make their own entries. It's kind of a joint notepad. You can add your Power BI reports. If, for example, in the earlier example I gave with the finance and accounting and the audit situation, if there's a SharePoint document library that isn't necessarily associated with that specific team, you can associate that SharePoint document library to the channel that may need to reference it from time to time. For example, in the audit situation, maybe they need to be able to pull up the previous 5 years audits for reference. and theirs is stored in a separate, in a special, SharePoint document repository because it's the results of an audit. Well, for the people working on this year's audit, we may add that SharePoint document library to their channel, so for their reference, so they can go back and look at, okay, well, how did that look last year? You can use Microsoft Stream if there's, video content or things of that nature that you need to associate with this channel. That's what Stream is Microsoft's video streaming platform. Any recordings of a meeting or things like that are available in Microsoft Stream. And so you can add that in as a tab in your channel and have the various videos that may be associated with what you're working on. And now this isn't, as you can see, this isn't strictly limited to things in the Microsoft stack. There are an enormous number of additional applications that can be associated with the channel and Teams. I'll be truthful, we don't use the vast majority of these. In fact, some of these I've never even seen before, but there are a plethora of various pieces of software that can be associated with a channel for Microsoft Teams. And it really just comes down to, what are you using this channel for? What are you trying to accomplish? And how do you make this as efficient and productive as you can for your staff? So again, there's almost limitless additions that can be made here. So again, I'm trying to get you guys thinking about, the things that Teams can do, the various things that you can do to leverage the capabilities of Microsoft Teams as a tool. It's not gonna just mystically and magically transform the productivity in your business, but if you think about it as a tool that you can then use to increase productivity, increase cohesion within your staff, that's what it's there for. And again, it's that window into the Microsoft stack. It's that user-friendly interface that isn't overly complicated, that everybody can, take a look at and dive into and start poking around and not do too much damage. And really start to access some of the power of the integration that Microsoft has written between all of their various software pieces. So with that, I'd like to pass on just some additional resources for you if you have any questions or concerns about Teams or how you could utilize it. Certainly, we here at ASK are well versed in the various uses of Teams. Please reach out with one of your business specific questions, or hey, we're trying to accomplish this particular goal. How could we leverage Teams? A lot of this really comes down to how your business operates. Again, we certainly have our COVID Resource Center still up, lots and lots of really good information, how-to videos, tips and tricks, things of that nature. We are offering dedicated Microsoft Teams workshops for customers, or for folks, so that if you'd really like a deep dive into your Teams deployment with an expert, and help you answer some of your questions, help you get some structure changes made, help you with some of the struggles you're having in manipulating things within Teams, we certainly would be happy to do a one-on-one workshop with you. Microsoft has an incredible amount of information available on Teams, both in their YouTube channel and their document library. Now, both of those can be rather expansive places, but the Microsoft Teams YouTube channel is excellent in that it has a lot of different videos at a lot of different knowledge levels. It's got some real, quick, down and dirty 20-minute, 15-minute basic videos that all the way up to like 2 and 3 hour, architect engineering level videos and everything in between. So you may have to, poke around and start one and that's not for me. But there's a lot of really good information there. Certainly your IT staff. I mean, nobody knows your business better than, from a technology perspective, than your IT staff. There may be some of the things that I showed you in this webinar that, based on the security settings in your Microsoft 365 deployment, you may not be able to do. And there may be very, very good reason for that. And again, it all depends on your business and how you operate. So, certainly discuss with your IT staff, hey, I was trying to do this. I know Teams can do it, but I don't seem to be able to make that work. Is there a good reason for that? And they may very well have an excellent reason for you not being able to invite a guest from outside of your organization to your channel. I mean, there are, every business is different. Every business should have differing levels of security around differing aspects of their business. And then certainly Microsoft is still offering their E1 licensing promotion. It's a 6-month trial of the online versions of the Office suite, whether it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive. That's all available on a free trial through Microsoft. So certainly leverage that if you're not already a Microsoft 365 user, or if you'd like to try it out. It's available to you free of charge right now. So, and with that, certainly hope that you could join us next week. They've actually given me a week off. So Mike Maddox, the president and CEO of ASK, is going to be presenting on IT review, how to ensure you're not wasting money on IT. With today's day and age, and all of us adapting to the new normal, certainly reviewing your IT expenditure, the tools that you have, looking for overlap and things like that. This is a great time to be doing that sort of thing. And Mike's a phenomenal presenter when it comes to this sort of thing. He's just a wealth of knowledge. So please join Mike next week for that. I'll be back around after Memorial Day weekend. We will be continuing this webinar series all summer. We're probably going to back it down to 1 every 2 weeks, but we will be continuing this all the way through August. So please keep your eyes open for email invites from us on the future webinars. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the Q&A here and take a look and see what we have as far as questions, and try to go through it as best I can here. Okay, I got a question. I'll go ahead and publish this one. And all right, so if you delete a channel, what happens to the files in the channel? They are also deleted. So you certainly want to make sure that you have moved or migrated all of the files out of that channel before you delete the channel. So, there should be some form of, if you're using it as a project or for a finite period of time, there should be something in your project plan to, at the end of it, remove all of the files from Teams, determine which ones need to be kept and which ones don't, file away the keepers in another place, and then get rid of the channel. So I would put a little process around that, and make sure that you're cleaning out that channel before you just delete it and lose all of that work. But yes, the files are gone once you delete the channel. All right, how do channels interact with Planner? It's the next one. Now, you certainly can tie Planner to a channel, and then you can assign tasks, and you can mention people and let them know that those tasks have been assigned. And as people update the tasks in Planner, that will update the feed in the channel. So they do work very nicely together. There may be a little bit of configuration depending on how your Microsoft 365 tenant is set up, just to make sure that Planner and Teams are talking to each other properly. But once that is established, yes, Planner is an excellent tool to use within Teams. It really helps keep that team organized and ensures that everybody knows what their responsibilities are, and most importantly, what that due date is. So, oh, and thank you, Susie. Susie just reached out to thank us for, I want to thank you for the resources. I look forward to the additional webinars. No, we're very happy to provide this, Susie. I mean, this is something that ASK has always been about giving back. And when this all hit us, the first thing that we all kind of came together and thought, okay, what can we do to help during this crisis? And we kind of polled our customers, polled our client technology managers, and the things that people seem to be struggling with the most was remote work, remote access, keeping that cohesion amongst their staff. And so we immediately went to work trying to put together content that would assist with that. So with that, I want to thank everyone for attending. I really appreciate everybody showing up for this, and I'm glad that this has been useful. Certainly, if you have any follow-up questions or would like to, take a deeper dive or have, more of a discussion around your deployment of Teams, how you use it, and what you're thinking about using it for, certainly I'm available. I make sure I reserve some time after these webinars for phone calls and things of that nature. So please just shoot me an email, give me a call, 517-676-6633. If you get one of the couple people still left at the office, you can certainly ask for Kevin Meeker, or you can just reach me at extension 335. Or again, shoot me an email at kmeeker@justask.net. And remember, we'll be posting the recording to this webinar on our COVID resource page this afternoon or first thing in the morning. So again, thanks everyone for attending, and hope to see you guys next week.